New pens always get me excited. Hi everybody, today I am taking a look at the new set of Tombow TwinTone dual tip markers. They had two sets previously, the brights and the pastels, and I will link the video up in the cards where I looked at those when they came out so you can see my review on those then. Today I wanted to look at this set of rainbow, both to talk about them as themselves and to also compare them to colors in the other two sets to find out if there's any duplicates or redundant colors. Now I have already gone through and tested all of these already, so I can tell you right off the bat, spoiler alert, that there are no duplicates. All of these colors are different from the ones in the brights and the pastels, although there are a couple of colors that are fairly similar, but not the same, which is great because if you watch last week's video, and I'll put that one up in the cards as well, where I looked at the Erin Condren dual tip markers, there are a lot of duplicates, like flat out duplicates in those sets. And so if you buy every single set, then you're gonna have multiples of some colors. And with these, there are 36 colors over 3 different sets of 12. So this set is $19.99 for a pack of 12, which is cheaper than the Erin Condren ones because those are $15 for a pack of 6. So it's quite a bit cheaper than the Erin Condren ones, but still not exactly inexpensive. They are a little pricier. You can order them from the Tombow website. They have sold TwinTone markers in places like Michael's before, but I don't know if I've seen this newest set. Overall, I will tell you, I like these pens. I actually keep them in my place of honor in my pen cup holder on my desk, not the rainbow ones. They're still in the, I've kept them in the package for the purposes of this video, but the brights and the pastels are both in my pen cup holder because I use them for note taking. I use them in my power sheets. I use them, there's a nice array of colorful markers, but I will talk about, there is one aspect of these pens I don't really like, and I'll talk about that as I move forward through the video. So this is the rainbow set. I got this in the Tombow VIP box when I ordered it. Now you can get them on the website just on their own. There are 12 colors here, and the theme is a rainbow, fairly obviously. They come in this plastic clamshell that closes here. I personally, like I said, I kept the pens in here for the purposes of this video. This packaging, I don't like it. I find it difficult to reclose unless the pens are like perfectly in it. I'd rather just stick them in a pen cup and be done with it. It's more trouble than it's worth for my personal tastes. Now looking at these pens, they are water-based ink that won't bleed through most papers. The bullet tip is 0.8 millimeters. The extra fine tip is 0.3 millimeters. And it says they're perfect for color coding, which yeah, I mean, that's how it works when you have colorful pens. Now looking at these pens, same as the other ones, there are no color names or numbers on them. There are numbers and colors associated with each pen, but they are not actually on the pens, which I think can be a problem when you're looking at a jar of them that has like the brights, the pastels, and the rainbow all mixed together. Here's an example. This is from the rainbow pack. This color is 25 red. And then this is from the brights pack, and this is 75 strawberry. Now they're different colors to each other, but if you're looking at them kind of in a pen cup, you're gonna have to like really kind of think about it or use a swatch page to really know which one is which when you pull them out of the container. Now, if you don't care about that, then that's probably not a big deal, but that's something that I personally look for, especially since they do have color numbers on their Tombow dual tip markers. It kind of bums me out that they don't have that on the TwinTones, and that was something that I said about the TwinTones back in the day. At least I think I did. I haven't rewatched that video. Now there is on this pen an indication of which tip is which. On the one end there is the fine tip, and on the other there is the bullet, the medium tip. There is a pen clip, and it's fairly useless. Probably more suited to reminding you which side is the finer tip side than it is to actually being helpful. So this is what the finer tip side looks like, and then this is what the bullet tipped side looks like. I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna demonstrate these for you in a second, but I will tell you from personal preference, as somebody who is heavy-handed, I really strongly do not like the skinny side of the Tombow TwinTones. It's a little too skinny in terms of what I like to see for writing, and I find it to be really scratchy. And I find it uncomfortable to write with. Like there's something nails on a chalkboard about it. I do love the bullet tips, so that's why I like to keep these pens around. The bullet tips for me are super handy for adding color to my planner, for using for whatever. And I'll use the smaller tip if I really want to use that color, but I just dislike the actual like feel of writing with the tip compared to some of the other fine liners that I'm used to writing with. So I'm gonna show you kind of what each tip looks like. So this is the broad tip. And this is the medium tip. Like I said, or the skinny tip. And I'll tell you, the skinny tip, scratchy and it's fine, but it is bright. That's the thing. It's not like muted or not saturated, the color does show through. I just don't like the feel when I write with it. Now here is one of my twin tones I have used fairly often. I've used at least this side of it fairly often, the broad side of it, over the course of the last year or so. I want to show you the difference between this and this so you can see kind of the wear and tear after about a year of use. Notice the tip is a little broader now because it has gotten a little bit more smooshed down, but it hasn't gotten so smooshed down that it's not usable. It's just a little bit broader, maybe. I don't really have something to show you though when it comes to the smaller tip, although that one does look a little bit broader as well. I don't use it as often, so I don't really have one where I've noticed a difference because it's not something I do on the regular. But I do like the way the colors kind of show up, and I will tell you, I'm gonna demonstrate for them in a second, but they all show up really brightly, which is something the Tombow markers are great for. All of the colors are saturated, and I love that. So I'm going to put the colors down here. I'm gonna show you each of them so you can kind of see what they look like, and then I'm going to show you which markers in the pastel and the bright sets are the closest to them based on my research, so that you can kind of see where these fall in the overall spectrum of the Tombow TwinTone markers. Here are all of the colors, and as you can see, they pretty much do flow in like a rainbow order. I really still don't like how the small tip either performs or feels like a bit more inky fine liner, but I love the way that the broader tip looks. I will say that this collection is heaviest on the blues. There are 4 blues, and otherwise there's 2 pinks, 2 greens, and then everything else there's 1 color of. I left some space underneath each one, and what I'm gonna do is each color, I'm gonna show you a color that is its closest counterpart in one of the other sets, so that we can kind of see basically if you have the other sets, is this a set you're going to want? I can't tell you that, you have to decide that for yourself, but I'm gonna show you as best as I can. And we're going to start here with Pale Rose. The closest color in Pale Rose is the one I actually pulled out earlier, and that is Coral Pink from the pastel set. I lied. I did my research on here and I was looking at it differently, and it actually wasn't the Coral Pink that was the closest. I'm not sniffing glue, I swear. The color that is actually the closest to the Pale Rose is Peach Pink from the pastel set. And as you can see, the peach pink is a little bit more orangey than the pale rose, which leans a little bit more in the cooler direction. The second color, fuchsia pink, which apparently I can't spell, the closest color to that is from the Brights palette, and it is the color pink. The fuchsia pink is a little bit darker, a little bit more purple, a little bit darker. As for violet, the closest color is from the Brights palette, it is grape. And I would suggest that the violet in the rainbow palette is a warmer purple, and the grape is a cooler purple. There is a difference, and I'll actually say that I was really glad, because among the various colors of the twin tones, there was kind of a lack of purples compared to some of the other colors. There just weren't as many purples, so adding another variation of purple to me is really exciting. As for the Prussian blue, the closest one to this is plain blue from the Brights palette. The blue is more of like a standard, like kind of cobalt blue, and the Prussian blue is just a little bit darker, has a little bit more black in it. As for the French blue, there wasn't one that was very close. The closest I could find was the Saxe blue from the pastel pack, but as you can see, it's like not even close. And this was the closest I could find. I would argue that the Saxe blue is one of the 2 colors in this entire rainbow palette that really has no real counterpart to it. But there's one other, and we'll get to that one shortly. As for turquoise blue and light blue, both of those colors are actually remarkably similar to each other. These 2 in the palette are remarkably similar to each other. There's not a lot of difference in between them. And there is one other color that is kind of in the same ballpark, although lighter than both of them, and that is the sky blue from the pastels palette. But as you can see here, both the turquoise blue and the light blue are darker than this sky blue. So I would argue that both of these blues were not necessary in the rainbow palette, because they are way similar to each other. And because there's already 2 other blues, I would have made the suggestion to get rid of one of the blues and maybe add another purple, because like I said, the purple collection in this whole situation is not great. Or maybe add another gray. There's one gray in the total collection, one in the pastels palette, but it's kind of a cooler gray. Maybe adding a warmer gray would be really nice. I just feel like both turquoise blue and light blue are not necessary because they're very, very, very similar to each other. I actually said that there was one other color besides the French blue that didn't really have a counterpart. I actually was wrong. There are two other colors that don't really have a counterpart, and one of them is green. Now there is this color, which is emerald green, which is more of a teal. And I remember when I was first testing these pens out that it blew my mind that Tombow had a teal in these colors, but didn't have a teal in their dual brush pens, which they changed recently with their recent pack of Tombows, and I can leave that video up above if you want to check that out. But there isn't another like regular, just normal green in the entire line. So that's one of the reasons that this rainbow pack is excellent, because it does add a true green to the whole range. These are the greens you get. None of them are just a standard like grass green. As for the yellow green, there is this one. This is lime green. This one is from the Brights palette. And these colors are very similar to each other. The yellow green is a little bit darker than the lime green, but they are close to each other. I'm happy to have some more green variations because, like I said, there isn't a lot of greens to begin with in this range, but I will say that of all of the colors in the palette, yellow green, it's just really similar. And I wanted to bring that up. Now, the last color that doesn't have a true counterpart in the whole range kind of shocked me when I first tried the twin tones. The same as I felt about the green is the yellow. There is not a true yellow in the pastels and the brights. There is one yellowish color, and that is chrome yellow, but is more of an orange yellow. And you can see that here, like a yellow orange. This yellow is an actual yellow, and it is the only one out of all three packs. So if a true yellow and a true green are important to you, then you are probably gonna wanna pick up the rainbow pack because it has those and the other two packs do not. Now as for orange, there is an orange in the whole collection. It is in the brights. There's also a really pale orange called honey orange in the pastels, but the closest orange to this one is this guy here, and this is carrot orange. And much like some of the other colors, it's very similar, just darker. And then finally, the red. In this pack is the truest red, but there is a second red, and it's in the Brights palette. It is called Strawberry. The red and they're similar to each other, but the red in the rainbow pack is a bright, like, fire engine red, and the strawberry red is a little bit cooler. They're similar to each other, but there is a difference. So overall, looking at this pack just on its own, like without context of the other two packs, I would suggest that of all of the colors, the only two that I feel like are a little redundant are those two blues that I mentioned, turquoise blue and light blue, but otherwise it's a really pretty rainbow assortment of colors. I find that the yellow green and the yellow and the light blue, the pale rose, they're paler, they're maybe not gonna be as easy to read for writing as some other colors, but the other ones are fairly bright, and as a rainbow set, it is pretty well-rounded. Looking at them in the context of the whole set, I would say that if you are a completionist, you want all three sets, you're not gonna go wrong with that because there aren't any duplicates. If you don't need any of these colors that are similar to the other, like, you know, similar to the other, like the Prussian blue and the blue, or the red and the strawberry, or the yellow green and the lime, or the peach pink and the pale rose, any of these colors that are really close to each other, even though they're not the same. If you have the first two sets, the pastels and the brights, and you don't really feel like doubling up on those colors, you may not need this set. If you really were missing, like I was, the appearance of a true yellow and a true green, and you like the look of this French blue, then I'd go ahead and get it because they're all different from the other colors, and those three are different enough that there isn't a counterpart. The last thing I'm gonna do really quick because I forgot to, I was kind of treating this not as a new pen review, but as a color comparison review because I've already reviewed these once before. I forgot to show you a dry test, which I'll do right now. The fine tip smeared a little tiny bit, and that one smeared quite a bit. So I would imagine if you're a lefty, I would not use the broad tip for a lot of writing, but because the skinny tip is so skinny, it dries pretty fast and you should be able to get away with that. I'd just be careful with the big puppy. I hope this gave you some food for thought in terms of whether or not you want to add this to your collection. Part of the reason I like doing pen reviews, especially ones like this where there are additions to a collection, is to let you know whether or not it's worth your money to buy these new pens, or you're just buying them because they're new and you want them. My whole goal with all of this is to help you make more informed decisions when you spend your money, so I hope I was able to accomplish that today. If you have any pens you would like me to take a look at, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. I'd also like to know whether or not you think that this rainbow set of Tombow TwinTones is worth purchasing, or you feel like, nah, I've got enough pens, I don't need more. I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.